Fox News and other right-wing pundits have such a hard time. They just crash out when this administration is compared to, did away with 6 million people. I was listening to Stephen Miller's speech. I'm a reader, and this all is so familiar. I'm going to show you some examples. Stephen Miller says, here in the United States, we've taken the necessary essential action of formally recognizing left-wing violence as a form of political terrorism that is a direct threat to our national security and the survival of the Republican form of government. And then, right below him, he says, the government of the National Revolution regards it as its most important duty to save the nation from the threat of communist subversion. The supreme goal is the eradication of this phenomenon, which threatens the very existence of our state. Stephen Miller, President Trump issued a directive in our parlance called NSPM 7, that directs, for the first time in American history, all of our law enforcement agencies to work together to disrupt, identify, defund, debank, arrest, and prosecute these political terrorists who are operating in our country. And right beside that phraseology is this: the Reich government will carry out a thorough cleanup. All state organs, police forces, and legal powers must cooperate in unison to ruthlessly eliminate this plague and arrest those who support it. Stephen Miller here, and he's describing himself and what his administration is actually doing, but he's putting it on left-wing terrorism. Always ends in bloodshed, misery, and suffering. It can only travel in one direction. There's no point at which the left-wing terrorists is satisfied with its gains and ceases progressing. Mein Kampf. The doctrine of destruction cannot be halted halfway. It knows no compromise. Relentlessly pursue its path until its entire structure of civilization is completely overturned. This is Miller talking about what they're doing right now to us, and saying that this is what we're going to do to everyone. This is Miller. It always becomes the mass imprisonment of political enemies, stripping of their rights and freedoms, and inflicting immense pain, humiliation, and suffering in order to establish complete and total control. Total control through psychological, physical, and actual terror is spelled I-C-E, I-C-E. He continues. He says, we have to understand that this is the scope and extent of the threat we face. Antifa. From Mein Kampf. Should the enemy triumph, the result will not be a simple political change, but the total subjugation of the population, the systematic deployment of terror, the concentration of opposition. I mean, it's just directly from all of Schüttler's speeches, from Mein Kampf, mostly. Stephen Miller says left-wing political violence is a fatal cancer. Cancer. And our institutions are too soft to defend against this mortal threat. You mean the institutions that you've hollowed out? And then Schüttler said, this international disease is a cancer, with past democratic institutions being too weak, soft, and paralyzed by legalisms to cut out this sickness. One more. Remember, this is the guy. This is like his right-hand man. This is the guy that's running this entire immigration operation. He's the one that tells them the quota. He's the one that says 2,000 a day or 3,000 a day. Got to keep the private prison industry happy. Stephen Miller says the leftist is fundamentally motivated by envy, hatred, and jealousy, with their inner hatred reflected in their outer appearance. They're describing themselves again. This just fucking, if they don't even know it, how can they not know this? This is from Mein Kampf. The radical leftist is driven by a deep-seated malice and envy of everything healthy, with their chaotic gatherings revealing physically and morally deformed specimens with twisted outer appearances that reflect their inner corruption. And he said, with their inner hatred reflected in their outer appearance. God, he just... Fucking kidding me. Is it plagiarism? Is it plagiarism? He just told ChatGPT, hey, run this through. Mix it up a little so it's not exactly like that. These motherfuckers, they arrested the people down in Texas. But you have to remember, they weren't just simple protesters. You know, the one guy, he moved the magazines after his wife called him from prison. But these people, they were training. They wore uniforms. They had weapons. They went in, I mean... they weren't just protesters. Let's just say that. But it was an opportunity for this administration and this corrupt DOJ, who's just, as we all know.
Ms. Lawyer.
Yeah. Because of that, who knows what's going to happen? They're afraid of us. We are so many. Don't forget that. Everybody needs to come out in the streets. Everybody needs to show up.